So the floor is now yours. You may go ahead and introduce yourself and take it away. Do what you do best.
All right, so I appreciate the patience with these technical difficulties. So I'll keep it quick on my story and make up for a lot of the lost time with really just being helpful to you. Just use me as a resource, and we'll just spend most of the time doing Q&A. Go quickly on my background, so I could give you some a reference for any of the questions you may have in mind. I'm essentially most known for my work in e-commerce. I've started a brand from scratch and scaled that up to six figures a month. And after generating multiple millions of dollars, we got acquired by a multinational brand in less than 4 years. What's significant about that is because I use paid advertising and marketing to grow a lot of the revenue. We spent over $2 million on ads. And then what was really unique is my brand was specifically for African American men. So one of the reasons why I really like this project is because my interpretation of what's interesting is that it's similar to what we built over at my brand Fresh Heritage. And essentially we recognize that I'm an African American man. I don't have an avatar in my profile. And I had a beard, and it was really difficult for me to find places and products that I think connected and spoke to me. So I didn't have any other options but to go out and create it on my own. And part of the biggest thing that we did along the way, we focused on building a really engaged community, and we sacrificed profits and just like our own advantage. And we invested a lot of that into having a really dope community, having meetups and events and professional development for people who wanted to be entrepreneurs, connections, and help with people just moving up the corporate ladder. And because we poured a lot of our resources back into our community, we built a community of over like 100,000 really dope professional growth minded African American men that became a very valuable asset to other people. And so that's our story in a nutshell. And what I really just wanted to focus on here is for all of you who maybe existing business owners or people who have aspirations to grow a brand in the e-commerce space. I think now is an amazing time to take advantage of what's going on because usually in the past you would need a lot of money or access to celebrities to build something meaningful. You built something that, I'm a nobody, have no names on, no followers on social at the time. Just pretty much very, very little and limited funds to build a brand. And just by forming a strong relationship with our community and, creating our quote unquote tribe, we were able to establish and grow something pretty meaningful. And with that I became sought after speaking at conferences. I partnered with Shopify. I'm an actual one of the first African American course creators and teachers that Shopify partnered with to help create free programming for people who wanted to build a brand. And that course has trained over 5,000 people. It's the most downloaded course that Shopify has created. And so I just want to be here for two reasons. To one, share my story and use that as inspiration for anyone here going on a similar journey. You don't need to be huge or popular or have a ton of money. You just need to focus on building a dope community and serving them first. And then two, as my role in this group, I want to be a resource for everyone or anyone who's on this same journey so I can help you get to where you need to go faster and achieve your goals faster, more predictably, and with less risk. So that's my intro.
All right.
And
Thank
if
you
we have
so
some time, I'd love to get some Q&A in.
Sorry if I interrupted you. I thought you had paused. So thank you, Gamal, for that intro. I'm sure the tribe is fired up to ask you some questions. Definitely, we do have time for the Q&A. So we'll just go ahead and open the floor. You have the opportunity to talk to Gamal, get his feedback, get his responses for persons that are wanting to start businesses or currently do have businesses and want some feedback. Gamal is here to answer your question as our Tribex Insider. You're getting firsthand knowledge getting insider knowledge from Gamal here. So that's definitely one of the benefits of being a part of Tribex. You have our insiders here where you can ask your questions and it will be contributing to the tribe. All right, so let's see. We have US Tribe X, we have CRI King, and we have Mamba Tribe X. I'm going to go ahead and add you, and you can speak in that order. All right, so I'm not seeing QS on the stage. I'm seeing Mamba Tribe X.
Yeah, I gotta. I would have a. Hey, and by the way, what's up, tribe? It's good to hear everybody's voice and all that. It's different, different feel here. So it's real good to hear some accents and some dialects and all that other kind of stuff. So respect and peace, everybody. So I have a question. I know Gamal, you're an insider, but I really want to know, as an insider, what truly intrigues you? What really gets you excited in regards to this particular project, to this NFT, even to this community for the most part?
Yeah, that's actually that's actually a pretty good question. So full transparency, I know very little about NFTs. I've been one of those people who think that just stay in my lane and just become the best at what I can. But part of the things that interested me to this project is one, I know the founders. Through story, the founders actually helped me get started, and so part of the principles that a lot of them and I share is reciprocity and like giving, pretty much focusing on giving. And so this is my way to be a part of something that, since they have helped me get started. And probably the biggest piece is I see the real world utility of how they're using this project to actually give back in the real world, to serve people who have typically been overlooked. Like I know one of the real specific things was like the NFT will allow folks like yourself to be essentially co-owners of a real world agency who's going to be able to help businesses like your own and just other businesses in the environment. So I think that differentiation really attracted me to this project versus others, because I can see my experience and my expertise really having an impact to the direction of the project. Does that make sense? Like I feel like I could
It
actually
does. Thanks.
contribute.
That was pretty deep. That's what we all needed to hear, I believe.
For sure.
Ready. Awesome. Thank you so very much, Mamba. We appreciate it. All right, let's see. We have CRI King next, and then we will take all XB.
Good night, tribe. Good night. Let me first start by saying, Gamal, very good job with your endeavors. I really appreciate what you're doing for the black community, especially our black young men. So big ups to you, man. So for me, I'm also new to NFT, but one of my philosophy is never be too scared to try or to take a risk. Currently, I have a 9 to 5. I do small loans as well as I do investing on the stock market. Now I'm getting into the crypto. My question for you is, during your tenure and your experience, what would you recommend, or how would you recommend young black business owners, especially our young men, to stay profitable? Because one of the things that I see is some of us, especially the black culture, when we make some money, the minute we make it, consumerism kicks in. We need 6 houses, we need 6 cars, we need everything. Like, what would be your number one recommendation to our young black business owners to remain profitable?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think you touched on, and by the way, you sound like you're a Yardie as well. I'm from St. Anne's, right outside of Ochi, so big up.
All
It's
right,
good that we're
cool.
in this
Yeah,
project
man.
together.
All right,
Um,
brother.
so the interesting thing is, I mean, I share those same concepts. I think like frugality in general is like a key concept to starting any business, because like when things are high and they're doing really well, like there's going to be ebb and flows of business. Business is business, especially a side business. When business is high, you feel like you want to just get rid of the money. And when things are low, you go into like make bad decisions because you make decisions off of fear instead of what's best for the long term approach for what you're trying to do. So, one thing that this philosophy that's helped me is when things are high, just don't look at that and just stay even keel when things are bad. And because I wasn't overspending from when I had money, I have a reserve, I can still make the best decisions for the company. And the example I talked about earlier, when we were starting up, a lot of the monies earlier in the brand, like we went from 0 to 60K a month within our first 90 days, off to a pretty good start. But I didn't think that. I didn't start spending like that. Instead, I reinvested the money into building a community because one of the things you should write this part down. One of the things that helps is having a North Star. And a North Star is essentially a guidepost or something that you're leading and making all your business decisions on for some long term benefit. So our North Star was having a dope community of at least 100,000 people. All of my decisions earlier on sacrificed personal gains, and I made all my decisions based on will this decision help me have 100,000, get me closer or further to having 100,000 people in my community. And that's what made a lot of my decisions. So I made the investments, even though when times were low, I made the investments in the business if I thought this opportunity would get me closer to that goal. And when I had more money than I needed, I just, kept that in reserve so I wouldn't make stupid decisions when times were slow.
Right, well said. Thanks, man.
I appreciate it. Good question.
All right, great. Thank you, Sierra King. So a lot of gems are dropping in this space. So hopefully, you guys are listening. I'm sure you are. And if you have friends that you think need to be in the chat, you can go ahead and share and invite to our Discord link so they can join in. So because we're dropping gems tonight, Gamal is dropping gems. All right. So next we have, let's see, LXB.
Hey,
Go
what's
ahead
up,
with your
Tribe?
question for Gamal.
Awesome. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Hello?
Yep,
Oh,
Yes.
we're
awesome.
hearing you.
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Awesome. I wanted to say, well, first of all, thank you, Gamal, for being here and sharing all this, information and, for sharing your story. It's very admirable. My question to you was, a lot of people, they tend to, they tend to get like a 9 to 5 or like a regular job and they get comfortable. They earn a steady income where they could make stuff happen and they could just get by. And it's hard for a lot of people to get that inspiration or that drive or that ambition to really make that change and go and get something or make a change in their life to build something. So I wanted to ask you, what inspired you to make that change? Like, what really drove you to build what you have built, which is something incredible, I might add.
Well, first of all, I appreciate the kind words. You're much too kind. And to answer your question, to be honest, I grew up, I just told the previous person that, my family came over here from a third world country. We had very humble beginnings and I didn't have a lot of good role models. And so the first thing that started me on my path to, where I am now, and I still think I have a lot further to go, just being surrounded by people who share common goals. Because what I found was people in my area, they would shoot down my dreams and sometimes not even intentionally, just because they can't want what they don't know, right? And so you can't dream for more than you know exists. And the reality was it was not those people's reality for us to want more than that 9 to 5 job or whatever the case may be. So getting around people, which I believe where you are sitting on the phone at 8:30 at night listening to people talk, I believe you're actually taking the steps to go down that path because the founders of this tribe, I know them personally, and in complete transparency, they were some of my early role models and inspiration to leave my job because I was in corporate America and they were entrepreneurs. And like we mentioned earlier, reciprocity is a big principle to all of our relationships. We do things for each other in real life without asking for anything in return, just knowing that's the right thing to do to help people. And so they actually they actually allowed me to leave my job with some of the information I learned. So being here, I think, is an amazing first step. Also, let's keep it honest. You need some cash flow. So, from what I understand about this project, I think investing your money in this project will definitely put you in a place to be able to have more passive income and build assets that grow over time so that you could, you don't have to rely on trading your time or being able to work for money where you have things kind of appreciating and working for you in the long run. So I think you're doing a lot of the right things. I would just continue staying the path.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much. I've definitely learned a lot in this Discord, like from this, from this project, and the people here are very helpful, and the whole environment here. Like, you ask a question, and I've said it a million times, you ask a question and immediately you get responses, and everybody's very helpful. So I've definitely learned a lot, and I agree. Yeah, being here was a very good step to make, to better myself and better my future. Thank you so much, man.
For sure. And one last piece on that, it's like another bar that kind of a lesson I live by. It's the concept of debt. And it goes right on piggybacks to what you were just talking about. A lot of people make decisions. A lot of people make bad long-term decisions for the benefit of short term. And if you think about the concept as a credit card, that's like what you do, right? 25% interest for some stuff you can't afford right now, but you put it on the card and you pay the consequences. In 5 years, you're still paying for this like $250 sneaker that you didn't really afford at the time. Opposite, what you should do is sacrifice that $250 sneakers and probably use that into something that will grow and increase your value or add to your skill sets in the future. That same concept should be applied to like professional development, skills, learning, how you manage and spend your time and energy. So think about the concept of debt as you're doing this stuff. Like, you're here putting in the work at 8:30, bettering yourself, be like networking with other people, learning from whatever information that I was prepared to share today, instead of doing some other stuff. So if you keep that philosophy of just thinking of debt, not only in finances, but also as you grow, like in 5 years from now, you're going to be looking up and you're going to be happy that you made that decision to sacrifice your free time to like put in some stuff and learn.
Definitely. Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Kamal. Let's see who is next to speak. Is it Donalfs?
Yeah, it's actually
Donalfs?
it's
Yes.
Dan. Yeah, it's Dan. My name's Dan Alves. It's a fun existence being the
Oh,
first with two A's. Hello. I'm pretty new to the space, but I definitely was intrigued by the NFT project, and it has brought me into this lovely community. So thank you for having me. I'm actually
welcome.
looking to help get a project of mine started, and I have some questions because it's been about a year since I started my non-for-profit, and now things are starting to get off to a good start. So I'd like to keep that going. So I'm starting to a workers co-op to build affordable dome communities that are free to access for the user. So I'm starting a social media platform called Nomadic. And it's going to be basically like Fiverr, Patreon, even OnlyFans. Like, you can sell basically your skills and have people pay you for it, kind of like a subscription platform. But with the benefit of people paying into the project will have access to like homestead communities that want to be participating in the projects. So have them be the users that are working, doing their 9 to 5. Sorry, my little dry. They're doing their job, but then they can also do like farming and help the community grow. And with the money that they're bringing in, I'm going to be asking that they donate like 10 to 20 to 30% of their income to help build more domes at the community, so that people who don't have as much money and don't have access to good, because rent everywhere in the country is more than minimum wages. So everyone's quitting and trying to do these freelancing gigs. So it'd be awesome if we could start building communities to house these people instead of having them pay rent to people. They just have these domes they can stay out and travel around the communities across the country. And I've been talking to some people on the community, and they love it. Pony, if you
I'm
want to
here.
chime in, yeah, she's been a great, person to talk to about it. But I love the NFT project, and I'd love to see if anyone is interested in, I don't know, potentially making it a real life community, where we actually get to meet each other and smoke a shit ton of weed together.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dan Al, for sharing your feedback. Um, definitely, definitely. You
Because
can
these
send me a
domes
DM.
are,
We can speak for
oh, sweet.
to
Because these
see.
domes cost $1,500 to build. It's made out of aircrete. They're fireproof and rot resistant. So it's like, screw paying $300,000 for a house.
All right. So also for this session, did you have any question for Gamal? We wanted you
I
to
think
see if you had any
I
question.
I'm not even gonna lie. I jumped in here a little late. What is your specific area of expertise, Kamal? I'm sorry.
Okay, because I was realizing that you didn't understand the direction. So
Yikes.
we have Gamal on the space, right? And we're having an AMA session with him right now. You're sharing info regarding the project. We can definitely speak off air, but if you had any questions for him as relates to him giving you advice on our business advice, that would be good.
Well, yeah, I'm looking to grow and I'm starting a podcast for it. So I guess if you have any advice for that kind of growth to just get people like that are interested in building community and helping others involved, it seems like you have some experience with, building a good core of followers.
Yeah, I would say, to be transparent, I have no clue about your space, but some principles that were pretty much things that could help any business. I would say this is something that would be helpful to you and others, so I'll share it for anyone else listening. It's a concept called the three P's, like P like Paul. It's person, pain, promise. The concept is that you're going to have much better success growing and having traction in your business if you have a very specific person that you want to be meaningful to, that you try to solve a pain point for that specific person, your product, service, brand, what have you. Make a big promise that, if this specific person uses your product, it will solve a pain in this way. So if you just take that concept, I'm sure you
Yeah,
could,
I love that.
instead of like just being broad and trying to grow your audience to everyone, because when you try to be something to everyone, you actually become nothing to everyone. So find a very specific niche for someone who would appreciate what your product is going to do for them, that person, pain, promise, and just go there. Just try to, if you have that message, and you show up and talk about that pain and how your product will solve them, like you go from being someone who is trying to go after and like yell at people to get their attention, and you turn into what's called like magnetic growth, where people start to seek you out because you have this pain that they know your product can serve. So that would be my only advice for you
That's
starting out. That
beautiful.
worked
No,
really
that's
well for
perfect.
us.
That's awesome. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Dan.
And yeah, I'll send you that DM.
Joining.
Sorry about barging in here. I appreciate the messages though. They're really good. Keep it up.
All right, thank you. All right, so we're going to go ahead now, and we're going to have, let's see, Empress M.
Hello, everybody. My name is Marcy. Thank you all. This has been a great tribe to join and listen in on. Love the artwork, of course. Gamal, thank you so much for giving some advice tonight. I have a question more on the e-commerce side that you were speaking about. So I own a brand that is a bath and body product business, and everything is inspired by the islands of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which is where I'm from. So each product has a storyline that directly ties back to my childhood to make it a little bit more personal. I've been getting good traction over the years as far as retail, wholesale, getting into stores, boutiques, but I'm still working a full-time job as a creative director at a cybersecurity company, and I need to take like that extra step to kind of do my brand full time. Now, you did mention that you did a lot with paid advertising. I'm flirting with it, but I need a little bit of advice on how to properly get that going other than, doing very basic paid social? Do you have any advice on where to start, any kind of guidelines, links, anything?
Yeah, I have all of that. So first of all, congrats on putting the work in and hustling and going above and beyond to make your dreams a reality. I appreciate that hustle, and I just want to recognize it. And to answer your question, sure, like social depends on where you think your ideal person is, that three P's, where you think they're going to hang out. Is it Instagram? Is it Pinterest? Is it TikTok? Is it Facebook? So all of that matters if you understand, like if your persona is older, younger, and their shopping habits. I would say that anything really works once you get that messaging down packed, right? And lastly, I'll give you some resources to actually go and be able to do it, like implement. But the idea and the strategy is more important than how you do it. So, for example, I had a company. They were selling. I coach people, and so I had a company, two companies. They were both selling the same thing. They were selling hair care products. And most people just on the surface say, I'm selling a hair care product to people with curly hair, and all my products are best because they have natural ingredients. The reality is, everyone's saying that. So you don't really stand out. And in a startup world where we both kind of are, you don't necessarily have to be the best product or even better. You just have to be different, right? So if your product is decent and when people use it, they won't be disappointed. You just have to be different and stand out so that people will try your product for the first time and hopefully get hooked. So the example I'm thinking through is you just really need to focus on a specific pain point or promise that your product helps. So, like for example, you could be really for eczema, or your product could be used for pregnant moms, or you could be used for people with certain skin pigmentation. Your product could be really used for teenagers fighting acne. Like the deeper you go into a specific person and pain point, the easier it would be to then promote it. So whether it's Instagram, TikTok, or whatever your platform choice is, once you show up and say, "Hey, I make a skincare product for teenagers who are trying to fight acne or moms who are pregnant and trying to remove stretch marks," it become a lot easier for you to stand out versus bigger brands who have much bigger budgets. And that's how you slowly but surely build your own tribe. Does that make sense?
Yes, makes perfect sense. Thank you. And definitely some of the practices that I've been doing as far as target market and really speaking to a specific person, because I know you can't sell to everybody. You have to sell to a specific person. And coming from a marketing background, definitely understand that. I guess one other question would be, you did say you coach. Would there be a possibility that I can reach out to you individually and see if you can give me some guidance there?
Yeah, so I believe the healer shared some information on some of my products, my website's listed there. But another free resource too is a great place to start is my website, gamalcodner.com, and I have some information about my products. And also on shopify.com, that course that I talked about is would be perfect for you too. It's a 45-minute course, the most downloaded course on Shopify, and it's called Holiday Launch Formula. It's essentially the marketing that you need to launch a product into the masses. So reach out to me on my website, or I'm sure the healer may have a way to share links that you could click on the link and find out more info.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Got you, Empress. Alrighty, awesome. So let's see who we have. So we have Silent Type. Welcome to the space. Not hearing you. All right, Silent Type, if you're speaking, we're not hearing you. So I'm going to go ahead and jump to Rosetta real quick.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
Okay. So I had a question about the merch and the NFTs. Is there any way in the future we could get like royalties? I know someone asked about like putting your own NFT on the merch, and I heard that was a possibility. But what if someone who doesn't, have a specific tribe NFT, but they want to buy merch? Is there any way we can kind of set up like a smart contract or something where we would get royalties, like whoever owns that NFT. I've been kind of peeping some projects playing around with that idea.
I mean, that's definitely a good idea. That's something that we could, something we'll look into. It's not something we thought about yet, but it's definitely something that we could look into.
Okay, love, bet.
All right, thank you, Rosetta. Do you have a question for Gamal?
No, I was just listening. I really appreciate all the gems. I didn't have any questions. I wrote a bunch of things down though. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. All right, so QS?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Great.
Hi, everybody. Finally get to talk. Gamal, thanks for coming here. I have a question about, I guess, direction. So I work a 9 to 5, and it's kind of like what Al B said, or Al XB said about getting kind of comfortable. But my husband and myself have kind of used the market, and we kind of took out some cash out from our loan, from our equity or whatever, and we wanted to start a business, and we were working on something, trying to create like an event space, but the real estate here is kind of like super duper crazy, and so we've been trying to find a space for like 2 years, and it just hasn't been working out for us. So now we're trying to pivot into something else, but we don't know what that else is. So is it like, was Fresh Heritage like your first endeavor? Did you ever have to find yourself in a position where you had to go and figure out what else you can do? Or, I mean, I don't guess.
That
Yes,
is
is
a
it
good
like,
question.
should I go back to what we were doing and just try to stay focused there, or is there something else out there that I can do?
That is a very good question, and it's something that I think more people need to talk about. Um, like people oftentimes think about entrepreneurship as like this beautiful thing, but the reality is, I'm gonna cuss a little bit. This shit's hard. It's a lot of hard work. Like you go from 8 hour days at your job to 12, 14 hour normal days. Like in building this brand, I sacrificed so much. There hadn't been a Thanksgiving over the 4 years I was growing it. I wasn't like leaving the dinner to go do work or to be shipping out Black Friday stuff. So I think that's a real question. And my honest answer is people hype up entrepreneurship to be more than it is. Take your time. It's a slow, long term marathon. It's not a quick sprint. And the only difference between some of these successful people that you see is that they just ain't give up yet. And like that's my advice to you. So take your time, recuperate from your losses, however you need to, and just keep going. Just don't stop. Continue learning, and just when you take L's, just realize you're not really taking an L. Instead, the next time you start, you'll be starting from experience instead of starting from scratch. So my personal story is I actually have been a 6 time founder now. So I've had like four profitable companies, 6 or 7 figures, and I've exited two. I acquired once, and I was in a buyout of another brand. So that's the thing that people usually lead with. But what I'm not telling you is that I've had another like 4 or 5 failed attempts at different things. Each time I failed, it has just built up my confidence to keep going and to realize that in those failures, it didn't kill me, right? And I just learned from it. Like all the times, regardless of how much money I lost, and my biggest L was I was in the hole. I lost 240K. I was even still able to bounce back from that. And so I like to talk about my L's too, because it's the reality of the whole thing. Like I lost $240,000 in pursuit of entrepreneurship. The next thing I did was Fresh Heritage. And, we made 7 figures multiple times. We cashed out, we got acquired. And so if I would have stopped after that, I would not be in this place. So just keep going and just learn from it and continue to learn from other people's experience, because you don't have to make those mistakes that other people have already learned from. So, yeah, that's my advice for you. That's my
Thank you.
advice for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for asking that question, QS. I know there may be a few persons that are feeling the way that you're feeling. Many people wanting to be entrepreneurs in this space, I am certain. So I'm happy that you asked that question, and thank you so much for that answer, Gamal. All right, so we're gonna have PR next up. With your question, you may go ahead. Thank you for joining the space.
So, uh, hello, can you guys hear me?
We're hearing you much better now. You may go ahead.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm new. I was introduced to this Discord by a friend of mine who is where we both learning about the NFTs, and I got on the call kind of late. So if y'all don't mind, could you basically tell me? I've been doing my own research, like the blockchains or whatnot. I didn't hear what cryptocurrency you guys were using for your NFT, and yeah, so I'm just kind of behind. But yeah, that's pretty much my question. I was
What
introduced
I'll
to the tribe
do.
by the NFT. Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting. I know you came on,
Uh-huh.
you said you came on late, and I wanted you to get the necessary help that you need. So for this current space that we're having, we're at a stage where we're doing a live Q&A, but as relates to knowing about cryptos and knowing about NFTs, I'll have one of our mods reach out to you that we can direct you to the relevant channels, and we can follow up and help you along with learning and getting the knowledge. So currently we're doing a live Q&A. If you had any question, if you are currently a business owner, or if you need any advice from Gamal, that would be what we're doing right now.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I came in. I'm sorry about that.
No worries, no worries,
Yeah,
no
yeah,
worries. But definitely I'll
yeah.
follow up with you to give you or to get the relevant knowledge to you so that we can help you out. All right.
Okay, sounds
So
good.
we appreciate you taking the time to join, and you can definitely listen in as you were, as we're seeing some gems are dropping here tonight. All right, so thank you, PR. Let's see
All
who
right,
else
thank y'all.
we are. Welcome. We have Mecca. We have Manadale. All right, Manadale, you're on this floor. You may go ahead with your question. Thank you. I'm not sure if it's your mic, but we're not hearing you. Um, Let me add you once again. All right, you may go ahead. All right, so we're still not hearing you. Not sure what's happening. All right, so for the persons that are still in this space, if you have questions for Gamal, you may go ahead and request to speak. I'll go ahead and add you. Yeah, still not hearing. All right, so in the load in progress, just a second.
Yeah,
Upload in progress, you are on the space.
can y'all hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Hey, but yo, Gamal, I just want to say appreciate you for dropping hella gems tonight. You had said something like, if you don't find your niche, then you end up like falling into the hole of like not knowing what you're gonna end up doing anyway. So my main question that I have tonight is, as a business owner, how important is it for you to stay liquid as opposed to using credit? And then how important is scalability as to keeping something long term as like a family business, I guess?
That is a great question. And what type of business is it? Is it e-commerce? Is it online? Is it retail? What is it?
So, personally, I'm working on a couple different things. So my girl, she has this like bakery, and then I would love that to be something that we like kind of like keep long term. But then I was talking to one of my business guys, and he was like, if you're not building a business to sell, then you're building a business to fail. So that's kind of why my question came up.
Got it. So yeah, your guy has definitely some truth to that. So what I currently work on is my primary thing is I help e-commerce founders build brands that are investor ready and or exit ready so that whenever you do get the time or if anyone's interested in buying or investing in you, you got your stuff together. But so I do agree with that guy saying like you should know from the jump how to build something that's valuable. But there are also different types of businesses. And so not every business is like an asset. There are some businesses you can build just for cash flow, right? So you can build an asset that's something that's sellable, but with a sellable asset, sometimes you're not taking out as much profit. You're reinvesting the profit in your business because you have like a North Star, you have a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan. Whereas a cash flow business is something that, it's probably not sellable, but it makes a lot of money and that still helps your overall financial picture too. So I think the best advice for you in this scenario is to realize you got a bunch of options, like the sky's the limit, and to just create a lifestyle that's for you. Like, do you want to just be chilling and be hella profitable and be okay with not having something that is sellable? Or do you want to go in more grind mode and forego some profits right now so you're not living the life that you'd probably want right now, but in hopes of in 5 or 10 years you'll be able to get a big check. So there's really no right or wrong answer. It's just about the building the life that you design and that you want. So it's a personal choice. There's no right or wrong.
Hey, I appreciate that. Good looking on that.
Hello, hello,
Thank you.
hello. Please, God, hello.
Yes, we are hearing you. We are hearing you.
Jeez. Okay. All right. Okay. First of all, how's everybody doing? Everybody doing good?
We're doing good.
All right. Great.
We're doing good.
Okay. Great. I love the gym so far. I've been taking notes, man. Hey, Jamal, I appreciate you.
Gamal, yes.
Okay.
And I appreciate you too.
Okay. So going into my question. I'm here. Y'all can hear me now. I'm pumped. All right. Okay. So with different types of businesses, you have different approaches and different ways you think about it. Okay. So my question is, so you have a luxury brand, okay? And then you have like, say, a general consumer brand, okay? So mindset wise, even you can go into intricate product wise, what do you feel are those main approaches and like thinking patterns that you can have to where you can best attack each field? Because with each field, you're talking to a different type of consumer.
That is correct. I would say really depends. So in general, I would say don't do both at the same time. But there is sometimes some strategic reasons to start there, right? So let's take Elon Musk and Tesla, for example. A super valuable company. Elon Musk is, shot up to top 3, top 5 richest people in the world, depending on what time you look at it, with a crap ton of money. His approach was Tesla, because I say all the same stuff all the time, right? There's only a couple of business philosophies I adhere to. He had a North Star. You can see like his shareholder report early into Tesla about what he wanted to do. He kept it simple. He's been executing on it. He wanted to build something both luxury, like a Model X and a Model S, and something affordable, like a Model 3 and a Model Y. You familiar with the Tesla brands?
To an extent, but I understand what you're saying.
Okay, so the Model 3 is like the 30K car, and the Model S and X are like the 100K cars. So he thought about this in the same way, and what he decided to do was first launch an expensive product only spoke to people who wanted a $100,000 car, great brand loyalty and brand awareness, and then make a more affordable car, like a $30,000 car that the everyday person could afford that competed with like Hondas and Toyotas. I would say that is a really good path. One, because it made Elon Musk very rich, so he had some smart people to figure that out. And two, just the logic of it makes sense. And so I think generally across any other brand that makes sense, because think about it this way: if I don't know if Hyundai, not Hyundai, if like some lower price product all of a sudden tried to sell you something that was 6 or 7 or 8 times more, you wouldn't really have that mass adoption of the brand versus if like Bentley or some super expensive car made something that's more affordable to the masses, you'd have much more mass adoption from the masses. So I would take that approach too and start premium, only speak to premium, and then make something more affordable for everyone else later on.
Perfect. Thank you. Did you hear me?
For sure, I appreciate that.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
man.
heard you.
Oh, I'm just making sure. Okay.
Thank you, Mana. We're happy that you finally got a chance to speak. All right, so I have Mecca. Trying to get Mecca on the floor. We are basically we're gonna wrap up at 9, so we have 4 minutes to go. So if you have any questions for Gamal, you can
I really do.
request to speak, and I'll add you.
Can I?
Is that Pony?
Please, yes.
You may go.
I
You
am
may
going
go
to
ahead.
overwhelm you. Okay, I really appreciate you being here, number one, for the tribe, because you have dropped like so much knowledge for us right now. Like I can't even explain what you've done for me, Gamal. Thank you so much for being here. So I have I'm starting a not-for-profit organization, which basically all I do is so simple. I just give free NFT to any kid that can open up a wallet and just ask for it. So that's what I do. And I'm also involved in another community, or actually a few communities. But the one that the gentleman spoke about earlier, which also, because of the housing crisis, we're trying to create an in real life community that will be on the DAO and then provide utilities and the homes and the necessities for everybody, put their skills to use, and then monetize on that while empowering the community.
Hello? When you were speaking just now, Pony, if you're on the space, you can join back the channel.
Pony be dropping too much weight. The chat don't be ready.
All right, so we have Scotty to Hottie on the floor. Scotty, you may go ahead with your question to Gamal.
Awesome. Definitely love everything that you all are doing. I'm kind of new into NFTs, probably like a month in, but really getting involved in learning a lot. And so, Gamal, I actually, my background is in like public health, more so like food access and food security. And so, in my mind, I've really been trying to figure out, a lot of times with causes like that, they typically impact people that don't have as much, financial capital to necessarily make a successful business or to make a, financially successful business, but it's a great cause. Like, what feedback do you have, for an entrepreneur that's trying to attach a good cause like food access and food security, but also attracting a crowd that can make that business successful financially to obviously be able to give more back to those communities in need?
That's an amazing question. So attaching a social cause to your for-profit idea is an actual amazing way to build community. And so many other brands have done it in the past, but you just haven't realized it. So we definitely had a social cause and a nonprofit that we contributed to. And brands like Tom's, if you remember Tom's, they sell a shoe for every shoe they sold. They gave one to a needy kid somewhere around the world. There's a bunch of them. And why it's cool is because there are a lot of people who want to have more meaningful lives. They want to be able to say and feel like that they contributed to the improve the world in a certain way. A lot of the times they don't have the flexibility or the resources to do it in a great way. So having a social cause to your brand, like a portion of our proceeds goes to X cause, or for every one you buy, we match you and do one to someone else. That is really a great way for your community to be able to contribute to a cause that they share with your brand. So I think that's a great way for you to build a dope community around people who are all like minded and want the brand to grow. And the second piece of that is, in addition to just doing that, you create a real moat around competitors, right? And so think about this: if there's your brand who's giving to, let's say, just Cancer Society, because you have family stories who are aligned to that, and there are other customers who has had family members who's had a battle with cancer and they contribute to you. And then there's a competitor who comes in and they're maybe a couple of dollars less, but they are not given a portion of proceeds to that cause. They're less likely to stay your customers for you, because even though your product that they're buying is good, may be good, like they're really just wanting to be a part of something bigger than the product. And so I think that's a great way to have impact in the world, and then to build a brand with people who share your same interests. And what's doper than that?
Nah, absolutely, absolutely. And I guess I know you've started a lot of e-commerce businesses, and you've helped a lot of entrepreneurs along the way. Have you ever been affiliated or involved at all in food access projects that kind of find innovative ways to provide food? Because I mean, if anybody on this call is familiar with kind of what's going on with our environment and sustainability, traditional agricultural practices are pretty much destroying the world, right? So has that anything that you've looked into, as far as or is that anywhere in your wheelhouse or your lane when you think about sustainability and future innovations around creating food sources?
I have not. Unfortunately, I have not. That has not been something on my radar.
Gotcha. Well, hey man, hopefully in the future we can get you on. But definitely appreciate the floor, and loving this NFT. Hopefully I get an opportunity to jump on one once you guys go live.
For sure. And I am all for anything and any project that is giving back and leaving and making the world a better place than before we got here. So in my world, I try to do that through financial education and entrepreneurship. It could be in your world through food and sustainability. Like, there are many ways to make the world a better place. So I'm all in support of that.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, man. Much love.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Scotty too, Hottie. So, Gamal, we're at 9:02. How many more questions are you able to take? Or you would take two
If
more questions?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna take two more questions. I see Pony is back. I'm gonna try to add Pony once again. All right, so Dark Child or Chris Darkchild, you may go ahead. I'm gonna try to add Pony.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Yeah, so I had like a two-part question. My wife and I was having a discussion on being successful and like what can make you successful, and she was leaning toward like the old motto, hard work gets you this, hard work makes you successful. And through me working in retail right now, it got to the point where I realized that, in my opinion, it was more about networking. And I was just wanted to get your opinion, Gamal, on what do you feel helped you become more successful? Was it networking or your own hard work?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question with a very, very easy answer. And that is, your wife is always right, bro. Just go with it. Just say yes. And that's the right answer. But the reality is, the question is a little more nuanced than that. She is right. You guys are both right. So she is right in that you're going to need hard work and consistency to make anything successful. Earlier, I said one of the biggest secrets between the successful people you see is that they just did not give up. That essentially translate into just this work ethic and being able to work hard, work 12, 14-hour days of yourself on your own versus 8 hours that in your 9 to 5. And then your part is right too. Like relationships run the world. Like you can be the hardest working person alive, but you don't have access to the right information or you don't have access to the right help. And your hard work will be working in vain. And so it's all about working smarter and using this concept of leverage. That's the things that I think have been the most beneficial for me. So relationships for sure. Not only working hard, but learning how to work smarter and either realizing that there are other people, tools, or places that can work smarter and more efficiently than me. So I could go from 14-hour days to 8-hour days and from 8-hour days to maybe 6 for 2-hour days. And so, yeah, that's it. So I think you guys are both right. It's a sweet combination of both.
All right, thank you. Did you lead toward any one or the other to become successful? Because where I'm working at right now, I was always considered a hard worker, and I've been at this company for about 23 years. And just 3 years ago, they finally let me become like a salaried manager, even though I've been ready. But they looked at me as a hard worker, and other people would come up and they would move up faster than me, but they wasn't working as hard as me. And it came to the point where I was even training some of those people that went up before me that because they looked over me. And I was just wanted to know, sorry, somebody keeps calling me, so it's throwing me off. But I just wanted to know like what worked best for you in your endeavor with Fresh Heritage.
Yeah, it's a completely different question, a completely different answer if you were talking about being an entrepreneur versus working a 9 to 5. I think generally speaking, corporate America does not give a crap about people enough, their employees enough. And you usually, as an employee, don't get what you are worth. Really, you get what you negotiate or what you ask for. And that usually comes from relationships with decision makers. And so I see it all the time too in corporate America. And that's part of the reason that made me actually quit in 2014. Because people who are less smart than I am and less hardworking, they were getting promoted. It's because they coached the boss's kid in like Little League. And so that is something that's like some of the corporate politics you're always going to deal with. So, that's an unfortunate scenario. But as you go to possibly do other things or do your own thing, I think a combination of hard work and relationships is going to be key because my example was a relationship with one of the founders actually got me exposed to an opportunity to make money, enough money to leave my corporate job. And then it was my hard work that allowed me to work after hours to implement the information he gave me through our relationship to make it meaningful and to be fully transparent. I was making 6 figures in my 20s and I walked away from a 6-figure job to go become an entrepreneur. And within my first 90 days of being an entrepreneur with the information I learned, I made 6 figures in 90 days. So it's a combination of both, and it's always been a combination of both in my life. So I think you need both of them.
All right. Thanks a lot for your insight. And sorry about my delivery with the question. Like I said, someone kept calling, so it's distracting, but thank you.
No, you're good, man.
It's okay, Chris. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna go with Pony. Is Pony back? All right, great, Pony. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to thank you, Gamal, for being here. You've given us so much knowledge. Like, seriously, I owe you one. I owe you three. So I'm probably going to ask you a lot of questions, and you can, or maybe just like 2 or 3, so I don't bother everybody. But you're just a great mind, and I'm, going to pick it as best as I can. First of all, to give you some context about what I do, so that way it relates to me personally. Right now I'm trying to start a not-for-profit organization. The idea came here to me because I wanted to give back to kids. And so it was just something real simple. If they can open up a wallet, they can claim a free NFT from me. So that's what I do. And then I'm involved in a couple of communities, but I really am giving a lot of work into one because the gentleman that spoke earlier, I really see what he's trying to do here. Because of the housing crisis and the food crisis that the person was just talking about before me, and just the cost of living and how our people are really just not able to even survive day to day anymore. Even the COVID just really separated that class division even more. We're trying to create in real life communities that are going to be based on a DAO, and then they will provide the homes, the utilities, the food, the necessities for everybody. They're going to put their skills to use, and then we're going to monetize on that so we can empower our community. That being said, I wanted to know, what were your best forms of advertisement and networking? What really worked for you? What got those numbers in so we can put ourselves in that position? And mind you, we're not the same type of business. I totally understand that. We're more community roots, type, give back type of organizations. We're not necessarily a large corporation, but we do also want to be, like you said, investor ready, and stuff like that. So I don't want to give you too many questions. In fact, any of the ones that you want to answer, or the one that you want to answer, since I already threw like 3 at you, any of them that you can answer would be amazing. And I've been taking notes, and I'm going to continue to take notes. And thank you so much for your time.
Well, I appreciate the kind words about conversation tonight. And you have, I could tell the passion in your questions. And so a couple of things there, they are very different. And most of my things have always been for profit because I like money. But I also have tied in social causes to most of the things I've done too. So I connect with you on that. And I would say the first thing on marketing and advertising would be figuring out what your 3 Ps are: person, pain, and promise. And figuring out where that essentially gives you who your product, who your company's mission, or the thing that you're working on, who that would connect with most. Where would you find them? So I have a buddy who works for a nonprofit. He's director of development for a nonprofit in education, and he raises like tens of millions of dollars every year from donors and sponsors. And most of his stuff comes from Facebook groups and LinkedIn, and so he advertises there. Whereas for us, we're a consumer brand, and most of our people were on Instagram, so we advertise there. So it's really just the answer is any kind of advertising would work. You really just have
Yeah,
to
but we're
start with who your 3 Ps would be and advertise where you think those people would be.
Yeah, I wrote that down, the 3 Ps. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, we're totally different, but we're really not. I like money too. And the second one is not exactly a not for profit. The second one is going to be set up to make profit for all of us, for everybody involved in the community. We want, it to be a profit, corporation. But we will set it up, like I said, as a DAO, so that there is nobody over anybody else, nobody rules anybody, and we can all share in the profits, and depending on our skills, we can put them into there, because there's a lot coming, that may not put our people in a good position,
I love it.
I love you. Thank you for coming, and I will leave the stage because I know you're really busy and everybody else wants to ask you to. So thank you for your time. I will put that to use.
Thank you, Bonnie. All right, thank you. Let's see if we can take one more, and then we can close it out for the night. All right, so who do we have that hasn't spoken? I think because Bilal had spoken and Chris Darkchild Mecca had spoken as well. I think we have everyone that is on the stage at this point has spoken. So
No, I haven't
Gamal,
spoken. I haven't spoken.
Mecca. Oh, I apologize. I'm sorry for missing you.
That's okay. Hey Tribe, hey Gamal. I hope everybody out there is well and staying healthy. I do want to say thank you very much for taking the opportunity to answer these questions, because we all know that time is extremely valuable. Once it's gone, you can't get it back. With that being said, I am someone who has been in corporate America for a while. Currently work 6 to 7 days a week, 12 to 15 hours a day, managing products for other people. With that being said, I really wish when I was a youth that there would have been more opportunities or, role models, mentors, training. I'm wondering with you as well as this project, what are we doing for educating the youth and bringing them into this space to teach them to be able to, devote their energy into themselves so they don't kind of get stuck in situations where people like me who are doing this for other people. For me, my personality is I'm just going to always give 200%, regardless if it's for me or for someone else. So for me to put all this energy into someone else, it would be more beneficial if I was doing it for myself. And I know with children, when you raise them when they're young to go on a certain way, it develops a certain mindset. So again, just wondering, are you doing any type of programs with the youth? And will this project do anything in terms of helping youth, teaching them how to become their own, bosses and go into business for themselves?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I know giving back and is a large part of just our personal, like the founders who I know and myself, just a personal part of our story. I think one of them would be able to better answer like the roadmap and how, or if any, how they plan on like giving back and who they plan on giving back to. So I'll go on mute and let one of them answer that.
Can anyone hear me?
So
Hello?
we are hearing you. Sorry, I was trying to unmute myself as well.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah, you can go ahead and give the answers.
All right, great. So we do have hello,
Yeah, we can hear
is
you.
everyone? Okay. All right. So Mecca, was it right?
Yes.
All right. So we do have real world utilities that we plan to put in place. I would want the architect to come in and speak more on that.
And while we're waiting for the architect, so Gamal, do you have any programs with the youth, or do you? Because I know, like, I kind of briefly went onto your website and saw some things, but I'm just wondering, have you done anything with the youth, or is that
Yeah,
incorporated?
yeah, for sure. Something I said earlier is one of the real pivotal points for me growing up is that I was exposed to other people who were ahead of me, and so I don't think you can want what you don't know exists, right? So like this exposure to possibilities is the first step to going out and living a life that you has meaning. And exposure as a young kid was important. So one of the companies that I did start up was this nonprofit in Atlanta called the Emerging 100 Black Men of Atlanta, and that is also the nonprofit that my brand contributed money to. And we essentially partnered with the Atlanta School District, and we mentored a all boys middle school and high school. We provide them with like a Big Brother mentorship. This is an inner city school, so we provide them with Big Brother mentorship. We help them get ready for college, and then we actually raised money for them. So we gave over $250,000 in like free education to these kids each year. Well, not each year, but collectively, we gave about 60 to 75K each year, where we'd sponsor the full education of like a couple of the kids we mentored. So that is my personal kind of partnership and interest in the youth, but to that organization in Atlanta that I co-founded.
Okay, perfect. Can you guys hear me now or no?
Yes, we're hearing you
Hello?
now.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, it seems like I was having some difficulties. So definitely thank you for that question. What I was saying was I was in the audience this whole time and I requested to be a speaker right before you asked that question. So it was actually perfect timing. In terms of what Tribex is looking to do to help the youth and specifically minorities and people of color, because with Web 3.0 approaching, these are typically the people that get left behind just because they don't have the same access to technology and people in their surrounding environments that are able to kind of show them the way. So for us, the entire project of Tribex is about giving back knowledge, giving back access, And we realized that it all starts with the youth. In fact, we do have one of the members that's a really big advocate, the Alchemist, and he does a lot of the stuff with the youth. And we've been working with him closely just to kind of like track what's going on and see how we can add value there. So that's something that's in the work that we'll talk about. In terms of our project and what's on our roadmap, we partnered with Devin and Jason McCourty and guys like Gamal Codner, Jeremy Zuta, and they have foundations, they have causes, and obviously we're going to find ways to give back directly to their causes because we know that this is a way that we can see implementation of what's going to happen with the funds used right away. So we'll be able to see those youth, we'll be able to work with those youth. Another thing that the partners and I were discussing, and it hasn't been concreted yet, it's just an idea that's playing around. We released our merch site tonight, and we already had a few people that went ahead and purchased the merch. One thing that we're planning to do in the near future is we're going to do some sort of sweepstakes or giveaway where there's going to be a prize awarded to obviously one person, the winner of the sweepstakes, whoever purchased the merch. But all of the funds, the net proceeds from that is going to be used to purchase NFTs, which will then airdrop to youth who would probably never be able to afford an NFT or don't have no idea what an NFT is. So our whole thing is we want everyone to benefit from what TribeX is doing. So if we're able to get this NFT to one youth who just kind of opens his mind up to the potential of what NFTs are, what the metaverse is, how technology can actually change his life or her life and their surrounding environment, that's really what it's all about. Another thing that we're looking to do is basically just partner with different people that are able to give back to the youth directly, whether it be corporations, members in our communities who are co-creators of TribeX, or anything like that. We're always open to looking to help because this project is something that our entire goal is to educate, inspire, and connect. And the way we do that is by obviously finding out who needs it the most. And we decided that, look, it's minorities, it's people of color, it's people like us. So like Gamal mentioned, we do it internally amongst ourselves. We go back years, we just didn't meet to say, hey, let's do a project. This was more like, hey guys, this is what we've been doing our entire life. NFTs gives us the ability to do it for the masses, for people who look like us. And that's why our entire approach has been so genuine. We started with a message because we wanted to connect with that message first. And after that, we said, okay, here's our pedigree, here's our background. We've done it before. So now let's build together. Hopefully that answered your question.
Yes, that did. Awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
All right, no worries. And thank you for asking. And not to cut things short, but I know Gamal's wife is probably looking at him. They have a young daughter at home, so he'll never be the one to cut it off. So I'll be the bad guy and basically try to wrap this up just so Gamal can get back to doing what he needs to do. And, thank you guys for coming out tonight. Thank you for listening. And I'll let the healer kind of wrap things up. Thank you again, guys.
I thank you, architects, for coming and providing some clarity on that. Mecca, that was a good response to the question. Sorry, I wasn't able to help at the beginning. All right, so definitely, I think we or Gamal answered a lot of questions here tonight, and I didn't ask questions, but I learned a lot, and I'm sure that there are many tips and tricks and gems that I'll take to use in my personal life, my growth, both personally and professionally. And